Welcome, message from the streets. Today's topic, a very interesting topic, could be controversial. And before I go into it, you know, I am a firm believer in the teachings of the Bible. Yet, I have a problem with the custodians of the church. I made a video earlier and I wanted to come back and reiterate on what I had spoken on because I actually pointed out the so-called black church. But when I thought about it, it's not just the black church. It is church in generally in the United States. We have the so-called black churches or the pastors or reverends. They are mimicking the mega churches of the European Caucasians. And that's where all the money is at. The Europeans have put in just as much money into church as the so-called blacks. And the results are not sufficient. It's not acceptable because we're dealing with Kenneth Copeland, T.D. Jakes, Benny Hinn, Paula White. You know, these people are part of a coalition of churches. And to the best of my knowledge, they haven't opened up one free school based on the teachings that is supposed to be a part of young people moving on in life with a biblical base in it. And this is not acceptable because the people are sowing and sowing into these churches or these institutions. And the churches, the coalitions, whoever's on the board, they see what's going on in the public schools. And they're not giving the church members a choice unless you got to pay. Now listen to that. You got to pay your tithes, get your offerings, your gifts, all of that. And your children are still going to schools that have ostracized God. And the church hasn't built any schools that is equivalent to the public school where though anybody can go to these schools. Yes, you got to have some type of standards as far as behavior and how you can get put out of these schools. This is a uniform situation. The Catholic school, they charging. I spoke about in the other video that in the so-called Jewish community, school and the Torah is a part of everyday life for the young people. In the Islamic community, Quran and school is the everyday life. But the so-called people that say that they are the followers of Christ, we don't have any such schools like that here in the United States. Our schools are based on programming us to be slaves for the system. And some people are okay with that. But you know what? Let it be an option. See what I'm saying? Because in my eyes, from my analysis, the church is failing the people because they pimping in the pulpit. I said that there's a lot of these so-called reverends and pastors and church heads, shepherds that are wolves in sheep clothing. They are pimping in the pulpit, and they are extracting money from these communities, and they's not putting back. I don't know of any because I live over here in the East Coast in the city of Washington, D.C. for the most of my life. I don't know any churches that have a grocery store. I don't know any churches that have, a public schools in a sense, based on the church. Church, you are misappropriating the funds that God has allowed you to receive from the people. You actually stealing from God. I remember when I was coming up, a lot of people, including myself, was turned off from church because I seen all the pastors in Cadillacs. Not one Cadillac, 2 or 3 Cadillacs. Now, they riding around in Teslas and everything, and Brother Johnson and Sister Mary about to get put out down the street. And they saying, well, we're going to help you this one time. I seen one church, they actually had an older so-called black woman living on one of their properties, and they evicted her. Yeah, God told them to do that, right? I have a problem with the operation of the people that are supposed to be the shepherds of the church. I don't have a problem with the word of God. I don't have a problem with the Bible. I have a problem with these religious gangsters extorting the congregation. And the people got to wake up and demand that the church do better. We're in a system where as though they are promoting transgender behavior to our children. They are promoting false narratives about historical events. We, the people, have to step up and force the church to do better. Because at first I was just saying the government and the church, they in cahoots with one another. They the good cop, bad cop thing. But all the time, they all together, man. The church get funds from the government, and that's why they didn't say nothing about COVID. They don't talk about transgender things. There's a few pastors, very few. I know of one, Pastor Geno Jenkins. He speak about it. But others, they turn a blind eye to it because they are getting paid. They have accepted mom off over the word of God. And that's what you can't serve the Most High and money. And these church heads, they're serving money. I tell you again, Kenneth Copeland, Paula White, Joel Osteen. It's a whole host of them. And they are tickling the people's ears every week, misleading the people, talking about prosperity. Man, the prosperity is not no prosperity of the physical realm. The prosperity must be obtained within ourselves. We had to get spiritual prosperity, mental prosperity, and then go for the physical prosperity if one so desire. But they're not promoting that. They're promoting a doctrine from hell. And when I say hell, I'm talking from the lower vibration, from that which is not profitable to the congregation, but from themselves. Their wives got on diamonds, big chains, all that. They balling out this junk. The church is balling more than hustlers. Picture that. See what I'm saying? And they gobbling up all the money, and they do a little stuff. They give out some food. They give out some clothes. They do some certain little things, but the church needs to evolve. It's 2023, and the people need assistance yesterday. Look at all these youngins out here carjacking, robbing people, murdering people, all that. I don't think the church that we got a good word today. Brothers, such and sisters killing. Why isn't these mega churches out on the streets? Why aren't the congregation that's inside the church? They need to go to the streets. They ain't even really got to say nothing. Have some signs up. You know, start somewhere, but you got to go to the streets. You can't stay in your little church and think that things going to work out. And tell me, oh, the devil is doing this and the devil is doing that. No, you got the devil in you because you're not moving on the word of God. I'm just talking to you, ladies and gentlemen. We have to do what we got to do. And just like the people got to do what we got to do beyond the government, we got to do what we got to do beyond the church, because the church is spelling the people. The church is one of the tentacles of the government when they're not operating in the spirit of the Most High, in the spirit of the teachers of Yahshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my point of view. Again, I don't have anything against the church. No person's spiritual religious preference. But I'm going to speak the truth. And I would appreciate that some Muslims speak the truth. Some Jews, so-called Jews, speak the truth. Some so-called Hebrew Israelites speak the truth. So-called Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses speak the truth. It ain't all no lollipop and lollipop land and, all furries and angels and all that stuff going on with these congregations. It's some treachery going on. Some piracy. Some straight up gangsterism is going on in the church. I bring you this message in love. I leave you this message in peace. Oneness.